Have you ever had nostalgia and nothing but good thoughts for a game, so you play it again after a while and it turns out to be horrible? Yeah, as have I. I had nothing but nostalgia for FIFA 16 and I played it again and hated it for some reason. Have you ever had nostalgia for something and nothing but good thoughts for a game, and when you play it again it turns out to be even better than you remember? As rare as this is, it does happen from time to time. And quite honestly, it's a fantastic feeling. And with this brings me to the deranged and yet so intriguing world of Far Cry 3. I've always had a guilty pleasure for the so-called Far Cry formula, but this game is simply a special case. I've explained the Far Cry formula in one of my videos before. I've explained how it perfectly blends together the exploration and climbing of radio towers, as well as the brutal yet fun violence mixed with exotic wildlife and villains that simply don't miss.
Shut me, motherfucker, come on!
But this game is a bit different, a bit special if you will. And not special like your classmate who chews on crayons, I mean really special. Allow me to explain for the best part of 15 to 20 minutes while you sit in silence in the inner depths of your bedroom. I will try my best to speak with my original opinions, but ultimately it will be hard to say what hasn't already been said. Thanks Pyro, thanks a lot. Far Cry is unforgiving. As simple as that. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be dropped in a remote location surrounded and overtaken by money-hungry psychopaths. Your protagonist's name is Jason Brody. You are nothing more than a typical white 20-year-old American douchebag. You and your friends as well as your brother are offered the opportunity to go skydiving over the exotic Rook Islands, and then boom.
You think you're crazy, huh? Jumping out of airplanes, flying like birds. That is crazy.
Probably one of the best intros in a video game I've ever seen. As if being an average white nobody wasn't enough, you're now in the hands of a mentally unstable man looking to sell you into slavery. Luckily for you, your brother is an army veteran, so in typical army veteran fashion, he knocks out one of the guards then proceeds to break you out of your bamboo prison. You slowly sneak your way out in a few nerve-wracking minutes before making a run for it. Unfortunately for you, you fell and your brother got shot. As blood runs out of his neck, you panic and put your hands over the wound. This is simply desperation. You can tell by the skirmish fear he shows when he tries to cover it. His brother is as good as gone. Vaas simply tells you to run. He knows someone like you would have no chance out there in the wild. He knows this is a corrupt and extreme world and it would be too much for you to handle. As you run, you can hear Jason's fear. You just watched your brother die right before your very eyes, and the man who killed him and his men are hunting you down. And just like that, welcome to Far Cry, motherfucker. You simply now out of fear and desperation have to kill someone. And look at what it does to you. You seem almost shocked, as if you can't believe the act you just did. How are you expected to survive in this jungle if you can't even kill someone? I feel as if this couple of opening sequences tells the story pretty well. You proceed to wake up with a man tattooing your arm. This is Dennis. He will be your friend for this game, getting you used to the vile Rook Islands. You, of course, are skeptical that you can even trust him. I mean, he kidnapped you and started hammering ink into your arm while passed out. Not to mention the fact that he held a gun to your forehead when you even thought about retaliating. He gave you some money to buy a gun, which you did, and he instructed you to do what you will do for the remainder of the game. Killing animals and climbing radio towers. All you have to do is kill a few boars, and even that disgusts you. When skinning the animals near the beginning of the game, you can hear Jason moaning and swearing, stating how it's disgusting that he's doing all of these things. Same goes for killing enemies. Despite them all wanting your head, you can still find what you're doing awful, as can be heard when you take down enemies up close and personal. The story isn't trying to tell you something complicated. You are a bitch. You don't belong here. That is all it is trying to tell you. Quite recently I read about this interesting thing known as ludonarrative dissonance. Ludonarrative dissonance is a conflict between the narrative told through the story and cutscenes and the acts you do throughout the gameplay. A prime example of this is Grand Theft Auto 5, where the cutscenes tell a story of 3 wanted men who were speaking of laying low until the next heist, while in the gameplay side of things I was mowing down civilians in traffic with a minigun that I pulled out of my ass. That, ladies and gentlemen, is ludonarrative dissonance. Many articles and reports were written about this topic if you do want to go and read further on about it. But now that you know what that means, I can explain its counterpart, ludonarrative harmony. The tying and harmony between the gameplay and the story. As time goes on, Jason kills more and more. He goes from being squeamish and scared to learning how to adapt to this world. He starts killing in more gruesome yet awesome ways. You can jump from above, stab him in his neck, create a chain killing multiple men in a single move, and it's a far cry from what the game taught you in the beginning. Jason, for the first time in his life, feels as if he's in his element. He feels as if this is his place. This is his calling. You kill so much and you find enjoyment in killing. This leads to your friends even being scared of you. They feel as if the island is consuming you and your mind. And they're right. The loading screen even tells a tale of your mentality in this jungle. In the beginning you can see words like friend, girlfriend, and things in that manner. This simply means that Jason was primarily focused on saving his friends and getting the hell out of here. Whereas if we play a few more missions and get later on into the game, you would notice that these words change. Changing from words like friend to words like fuck and kill. This means that the island is corrupting him, as if he was a 10-year-old child scrolling through the depths of the internet. Jason likes killing these people. Killing these people is his escape from the cold, harsh reality of paying taxes and having to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. Time goes on in the game, and while killing all these people you didn't even know, you kill more animals too. You went from killing harmless pigs and goats to killing tigers and dragons. Once upon a time you were too scared to even pull the trigger, and now you revel in the moment, enjoying every second of it. I mentioned there that your friends are becoming worried of your mental state, as well as you slowly becoming a mass murdering machine. But the question is, what is encouraging you to do these heinous acts? Well, while your friends helplessly try to save you knowing it's already too late, on the other side of the jungle is a bad lady. This is Citra. She will be helping you to get your friends back as long as you agree to do things for her in return. Oh yeah, and she's Vaas' sister. Your friendly guy Dennis, as you can recall from the beginning of the game, essentially worships this lady, bowing down to her and doing her every command. Citra fuels the fire to your rage and brutality, encouraging it as you go along. As time goes on, it becomes less of a mission of saving your friends and more of a mission of finding out who you really are, what you really want. This is what you tell your girlfriend after she sees you killing all those people when you rescue her. This is exactly why you didn't want to go back after they told you the escape boat was fixed. It's almost as if the death to his brother infilled Jason with an immoral rage, willing to kill anyone and everyone in his path in order to get revenge. Revenge is usually a strange topic in such video games. Usually the revenge topic in video games will be output badly, leading to mobs of angry fans, but this game is a special case. Whereas other games forced you to do these heinous acts to complete the plot and story, giving you no other choice, this game made it feel like you became this person who you are now. It made you feel like you were the cause of an innocent scared man becoming this ruthless killer. In the end you do get revenge, stabbing Vaas and carrying out further orders for Citra, but at this stage it's too late to go back. You know what you've become. You know that you are no longer a 20-year-old white douchebag who day drinks in his college dorm. You are now a killer. This jungle has consumed you and there's no way of going back. After killing big bad boss Vaas, you tell Citra and she doesn't seem too bothered. It's almost as if the death of her brother means nothing to her. Nothing more than a Robbie from Ddtv Fat W. The fight with Vaas tells the story so far. All this time with the loading screens and talking to yourself, as well as your friends, all of those have led to this. It felt as if it was all visualized in your corrupted mind. You've seen yourself slowly turn into the man you've hated for so long. This would explain the odd screens where you can see Jason and Vaas alternating between each other almost as if they're meant to be the same person. The fights against all these bad guys made you feel this way, even against the guy who was pegging your friend. It felt like you were made to kill. It felt like you wanted to kill. Occasionally you can hear Jason talking to himself, explaining how he wants to kill these people. Oh, and you thought I was insane when I said Citra was adding fuel to your fire? She asked you what's your desire.
What is it you desire?
You instinctively tell her what your original duty was, that being saving your friends.
To save my friends.
But it's as if she knows what's happening to you. It's almost like she can see how corrupt your mind has become. In a simple yet mind-changing way she asks,
Are you sure?
and just like that, the real Jason speaks his mind.
I want to kill Vaas and Hoyt.
You are no longer here to save yourself and your friends. You are here to kill those who wronged you. In a somewhat strange way, the game makes you feel like you want to kill these people. Instead of making you sympathize with these people, Ubisoft fills you up with rage and desire to end their lives. Right when you think it's too late to introduce a new villain, a new bad guy shows up. This is Hoyt. He is the brains of the operation, controlling a different part of the island while simultaneously operating and selling people into slavery. That was supposed to happen to one of your friends before you saved them, so as you could imagine, he isn't too happy. You take out his army of your men, save your brother, and fight to the death with him as well. Citra, playing with your mind and your innermost desires, has corrupted your mind to the point where you do everything she says almost like one of her servants. You get her the knife that everyone is after. You kill army men for her. You kill both Vaas and Hoyt, and what you get in return? You get what you've wanted your entire life. To be free. To be one with a place where you can do what you want, as well as the option of having sweet, sweet sex. But to do that, she makes you kill your friends. She is convinced that your mind is at a stage where you are insane enough to do her bidding. You've been doing it this entire time anyway. She instructs, no. She demands you to slit your girlfriend's throat, or else you will face the consequences. This is probably one of the most gruesome deaths in the game. You look into her eyes, and do this not only after rescuing her, but also she's one of the few likable characters. This is of course an option. You have the choice of joining Citra and her men for the rest of your life, leading to some intercourse. The price of this? She kills you when you least expect it. You've already done everything she needed you to do. You're no longer an asset and more of a mentally unstable liability. Meaning your corrupted mind and desire just leads to your own death, teaching you a lesson in the process. On the flip side of the spectrum, you can also save yourself and your friends. Killing Dennis after he jumped in front of her is the ultimate act of simping I've ever seen. He is the one who taught you everything about this horrid jungle hell called the Rook Islands. It was sad to see him go, but at the end of the day, as you've been taught throughout this game, kill or be killed. This story was nothing short of exceptional. All the villains and other bad guys made you feel like you wanted to kill them. It made you hate them with almost every power in your being. The one probably standing out the most among the crowd, as well as every other Far Cry villain, is Vaas. Michael Mando did a fine job, a phenomenal job in fact. It would be hard to try and replicate with any other character. His sense of calmness while speaking to you makes you feel like he sees you as a real person, instead of a psychotic killer. But this is of course mixed in with brief stills showing his rage for all the damage you've done, shouting and yelling while holding weapons to your tempo. So many opportunities to kill you, yet he chose to make you suffer and die slowly, breeding into his insanity. Speaking of insanity, he delivered what was probably one of the best and most memorable bad guy speeches to ever grace the gaming world. Michael Mando gave us a Joaquin Phoenix performance all the way back in 2013. Not to mention the real life performances of Vaas he gave us, adding to the lore and unanswered questions of the open world. Stuff like the infamous head of a man that sticks out on the beach sand. You probably recognize him from the cover of the game as well. What I found to be the most shocking detail about Vaas and his character is that despite being so amazing, he only has about 15 minutes of screen time. What the fuck? Vaas Montenegro is without a doubt an amazing character, and Michael Mando did a phenomenal job as I mentioned earlier. There were even ongoing debates about him being the greatest villain of the gaming universe. Though that may be up for the debate, Ubisoft and co definitely makes him seem like a deranged bad guy who has a story to tell. There is just a thought that there should be more. Why do we not get to see more of Vaas in Far Cry 3? Maybe there is more to tell. Maybe this is why there were rumors of Vaas being included in the upcoming game in the series. Time will tell. But as from now, I recommend you go back and purchase this game. Perhaps you too may be able to relive the sense of nostalgia which I had mentioned in the very beginning. This is no simple game, yet it can be enjoyed by everyone who plays it. There is truly something for everyone, from the vast open world all the way to the exotic array of wildlife. Even the extreme brutality and secrets we are yet to find out. The magnificent story telling the tale of a young man, nobody thinking he's turning into what he really wants to for the first time in his life. Telling the tale of a man whose mind is consumed by the jungle. That of a man who is turning into the very thing he wanted to destroy. Through all the loss and the fear, Jason Brody not only found out his deepest desires, but he found out what he really is. Jason Brody is not an untouchable, out-of-this-world superhero. He is a man who made mistakes, and those very mistakes led to the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. He was relatable to not only the player to an extent, but the island as a whole. This video was not only made to highlight the emphatic character of Jason Brody, but to tell the strangely simple yet complex tale of Far Cry 3. With every single hope in my being, I hope that I accomplished this task successfully, leaving you, the viewer, satisfied with what you've come across. I am a small channel. This video may not be the best you've ever laid eyes upon, but I did try my best, and I hope that I entertained you for this time being. So with these final few sentences, I say this. Thank you for watching, like if you enjoyed, but most of all...
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Bitches ain't shit.
Man, fuck these bitches!
So take the nuts.